RFK Jr., does he like Bitcoin? Well, we know he does because he went down to Miami and preached the good gospel of the orange coin to adoring fans down in South Beach. But does he own Bitcoin? That is the question at hand. Apparently he does, according to filings from his own team. There was some question at the time whether it was investment advice, given that he preached buying Bitcoin to all his fans and then did end up owning Bitcoin. Does look like he does own it after first saying he did not. His legal counsel and his team stated that he purchased Bitcoin after his speech down in Miami. I guess a little bit of an intrigue at the moment. I guess this story, we could throw it over to Wendy. I think he'd be a good comment person on this because there's a lot of people out there who shill Bitcoin and then own it or don't own it, and people get upset about it. At this point in time, I'm not really sure what there is to be upset about. I think it's just, this guy owns Bitcoin. He's running for president.
Okay, so a couple things. First and foremost, okay, sometimes really, really rich people have no idea what they're invested in because they have other people that manage their money for them, number one. Number two, because he's running for president, they're going to find any and everything to attack him, even if it's if it's a big thing or a small thing or the most dumbest thing. And lastly, it's like, what about Michael Saylor? Does Michael Saylor even own Bitcoin, or is it MicroStrategy that owns Bitcoin? And people say Elon Musk owns Dogecoin, but it could be one of their companies or whatnot. So I think this story is ridiculous. I think people should not get so mad if somebody owns Bitcoin. Maybe he was buying and trading or selling Bitcoin before and then didn't have it at the time, but then got back in. Who the heck knows? And is it really that big of a deal? I don't know. To me, it sounds like a nothing burger. It sounds like a bunch of people getting mad over nothing, but I could be wrong. Jen, what do you think?
I don't think it's a big deal. I think the way it's outlined in this story maybe could be interesting. We want our presidential candidates to be truthful. And so apparently he said he doesn't own any Bitcoin at the conference in Miami. And then financial records showed that he did own up to 250,000. And then when questioned about it, he said, oh, my wife owns it. And then after that, our rep came back and said, no, actually, he does own some Bitcoin. And so that I can see why people might be like, that's a little bit weird. But I think if we zoom out, I think it makes sense if he's out there touting Bitcoin and touting the benefits of Bitcoin. He should own Bitcoin. He should understand how it works. And so I don't think that that's bad at all. I think for me, if we zoom out even more, I really enjoy that we are having conversations like this around the upcoming election. I enjoy that there are candidates who are out there speaking about crypto, speaking about the benefits of crypto, and also talking about CBDC. So I know that RFK Jr. is against CBDCs. He thinks that they will be misused from a privacy perspective. I know that there are some candidates who have very interesting views on various different topics. So I don't know if we want these people to be the ones who are really spearheading these conversations. That is out to the jury. I'll let the audience decide on that. But I really do enjoy that we're having this conversation about Bitcoin, about CBDCs, and people who may not have received the information because they're not zeroed in on platforms maybe like this one, who we talk about crypto and CBDCs all day, can start to learn about it. Will?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I like Wendy's comment though the most. A lot of rich people own a lot of rich things, and they bought Bitcoin, they forgot about it, and that's okay. And
I wish I could forget about $250,000 worth of Bitcoin. I look forward to that day.
What about Nancy Pelosi? Her and her husband seem to forget that they've invested in all these different stocks and that they've cashed out and they made all this money. So it's just rich people problem, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem, but it makes sense to me that this would happen. I guess to go into the Bitcoin side of things, it is weird to see Bitcoiners embrace politicians, and there's been a lot of Ron DeSantis chatter because of his pushback on CBDCs within Florida, and then there's a lot of talk with this guy RFK Jr. because he went to Bitcoin Miami and talked about it and shilled Bitcoin on stage and said they were going to be the first presidential campaign to accept Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. So they got a lot of Bitcoiners hoopla and uproarious about it, but at the same time it's he doesn't even probably know how to use it, and so that sort of clashes with a lot of the Bitcoin ideology, which is hodl, learn how to use Bitcoin, learn how to use multisig, learn how to store it, but he doesn't even know that he owns it. So there's a little bit of something there, but at the same time I guess that's just politicians, so oh well.
Just politicians.